What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, we see undefeated, unified WBC, IBF, welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, Errol Spence Jr., back with world famous trainer, strength and condition coach, Blueray Fitness. So, this is bad news essentially for the rest of the sport of boxing, okay? Because we know world-renowned fitness, strength and condition coach Blueray Fitness is one of the best to ever do it. And we know that Errol Spence was on a knockout streak and stopping all his opponents when he was with Blueray Fitness. And now he's back with Blueray Fitness. We know that Errol Spence, he rededicated himself to the sport of boxing and refocused and realigned himself and what's important in life after he suffered that horrific car accident just 12 days after unifying the belts against former two-time welterweight world champion superstar boxer Showtime Shawn Porter. Errol Spence is considered to be top 3 pound-for-pound fighters in the world already. When he was with Blueray Fitness, he was getting stoppage victories. He was looking like, an unstoppable force. Then he sort of revamped his approach. He stopped working with strength and condition coach Blueray Fitness. And, he still was very, very dominant. But everybody was looking for that Errol Spence that was stopping people. Chris Algieri, right? That version of Errol Spence. And now Errol Spence said he understood what was important to him. Errol Spence is going into a unification bout with WBA super champion, Cuban star boxer YORDENIS Ugas, which would soon be announced. With that said, Errol Spence Jr., he understands what's important. He understands his legacy. He understands that the sport of boxing allows him to live the lifestyle he so chooses to live, okay? And Errol Spence said that he's focused. He's rededicated himself with the sport of boxing, okay? Errol Spence said he allowed himself in between fights to balloon up in weight. He allowed himself in between fights, to get out of shape. And he started having weight loss camps instead of focusing on his conditioning and technique and just skills and focusing on game plan. He had to focus on losing weight. So Errol Spence, he stated that he was more focused. And we see he fought against 2-division world champion, former unified junior welterweight world champion, former WBC welterweight world champion, who is a superstar in the sport of boxing, Danny Swift Garcia. In his last fight, that was December 5th. Errol Spence is still in tip-top shape at this point in time. Errol Spence is still focused. Prior to this version, the new refreshed version of Errol Spence in between fights would be celebrating, as he stated. And he would be, ballooning up in weight. Not the case anymore. Errol Spence is still in shape, and now he's back with his strength and condition coach. And this could spell serious issues for YORDENIS Ugas in his next fight. I thought even without Blueray Fitness, Errol Spence's skill set, it's just too much for YORDENIS Ugas. His style is a bad matchup for YORDENIS Ugas. YORDENIS Ugas, he's a technical boxer. He's a Cuban school boxer. He has a skill set, but YORDENIS Ugas doesn't have a lot of power, and he can be very flat-footed. And that could be an issue when you're dealing with Errol Spence Jr., okay? So Errol Spence Jr., he's back with his strength and condition coach on top of that. So he could possibly, I already thought that a stoppage was in the plans, right? That could be in the future. And again, a fight against YORDENIS Ugas. But now, back with strength and condition coach Blueray Fitness, I definitely see a stoppage in the works when he faces off against YORDENIS Ugas. So Errol Spence Jr., as you see, he's completely focused. Right? This is like they haven't truly started training. You see Errol Spence has a new tattoo on his back. Errol Spence, they haven't completely started training. He's not in training camp as of yet. Okay? This is just the tip of the iceberg. They're just starting to, get things rolling again. Okay? And Errol Spence, obviously, as you can see, is completely focused on, getting back to the guy that was stopping guys like Chris Algieri. He's focused on getting back to that version of Errol Spence Jr. And it seems like that is on the verge of taking place. Okay. So with that said, this could spell a serious issue for Yordenis Ugas. Okay. Because Yordenis Ugas, he doesn't have the most power in the world. Okay. Yordenis Ugas, is a technical boxer. But when he fought a guy like Omar Figueroa, who was just recently stopped by Omar Figueroa was just recently stopped by Abel Ramos, right? And Abel Ramos, gave Yordenis Ugas problems and would seem like he was on the verge of stopping Yordenis Ugas. That was Abel Ramos, okay? But looking from this standpoint, Abel Ramos, he stopped Omar Figueroa in the early rounds. Yordenis Ugas went 12 rounds with Omar Figueroa. Now, I know the triangle theory doesn't always work in the sport of boxing, but he was able to go 12 rounds with Yordenis Ugas. And Yordenis Ugas was hitting Omar Figueroa with big, clean punches. Now, he got a unanimous decision victory, but he was hitting Omar Figueroa with big, clean punches, but he wasn't able to stop Omar Figueroa. Yordenis Ugas, is a slick boxer. He's technical, but he shows that he does not have a lot of power, okay? And with that said, you can see, the Abel Ramos stopping Omar Figueroa. It shows you that that Yordenis Ugas doesn't have much power, okay? And so with that said, I believe that, Errol Spence, and again, Abel Ramos seemed to be on the verge of stopping Yordenis Ugas in their fight. So I believe if you put Yordenis Ugas in the ring with Errol Spence Jr., and Errol Spence Jr. is focused, Errol Spence is back with a strength and condition coach, Blueray Fitness. I believe that Errol Spence Jr. will be a 3-belt holder, and I believe that he'll do so in dramatic fashion, and I believe he'll stop Yordenis Ugas, okay? Because like I said, Abel Ramos, he seemed to be on the verge of stopping Yordenis Ugas, but he ran out of time. And I don't believe that Errol Spence will respect Yordenis Ugas' power. I believe that, obviously his approach is going to be very technical, okay? He uses, controlled aggression. So with that said, I believe Errol Spence, his approach to, the fight with Yordenis Ugas, he's going to take his time, right? He builds up to that point. But I believe that, he's going to be looking to make a statement out of Yordenis Ugas, and pick up that 3rd belt and assure himself that he'll be a 3-belt holder going into what is going to be considered the super fight between himself and undefeated 3-division world champion who currently is the WBO reigning welterweight world champion, is widely considered by many to be the #1 pound-for-pound fight in the world, in Terrence Bud Crawford. So I believe that Errol Spence Jr., will ultimately, have that super fight with Terrence Crawford. And this is a great step in that right direction, because against Terrence Crawford, who is considered the best fighter in the world, or you could say he's one of the top 3 in the world, however you so choose to rate them, but this is great for Errol Spence to have his strength and condition coach back with him heading into a fight of that magnitude with Terrence Crawford, okay? Terrence Crawford has knocked out the last 6 opponents he's faced, okay? That including his last opponent at junior welterweight to his last 5 opponents at welterweight, okay? Obviously, they're not Errol Spence, but Terrence Crawford, has a high skill set. He has power in both hands. He can switch from orthodox to southpaw, so that's a huge fight. That's what makes a super fight between Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. And to be back with his strength and condition coach speaks volumes for Errol Spence, because Errol Spence is letting the boxing world know this is a statement. He's letting the boxing world know he's not coming to play. He's not taking it for granted anymore. As he stated, he was taking the sport of boxing for granted and his abilities for granted. And he's focused now. He's in a different place in his life, and he's ready to take over the sport of boxing. I can't wait to see this fight between Errol Spence and Yordenis Ugas. You had a lot of people saying they felt like Errol Spence had lost a step. Errol Spence wasn't the same guy. He didn't seem to have the same strength. Well, we get ready to find out what version of Errol Spence is going to be when this Yordenis Ugas fight is announced. But make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notification. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.